Today is a special meeting of the Board of Health. It is Thursday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to do a roll call. I don't know who's on TV with us. Is Pamela Gatz on? Pam? Hearing nothing yet at this time. She's not on the thing. Devin Prock?
Here.
Devin is here, okay. Terry Goulas?
I'm here.
Okay, and you're feeling okay, Terry?
Oh, I felt better, but I'm making do.
Okay. Well, glad you could join us, Terry. And Dennis
Oh,
Highbury.
thank you.
Okay. I'm here as well. Also, we have with us Health Officer Chrystal Woller.
Here.
Sarah Lawrenson
Here.
is also here. And Eric Erdman, Assistant City Attorney, is here as well. Okay. So with that, we'll go on to public comments. This is a session where comments are made during the public comment period shall pertain only to the matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health. So we do have people in the audience. So is there anybody? Now we have, Eric, would you like to take over at this time?
Yeah, so there are, I'm assuming the owners are here. They will be involved in the actual item number 4 and I would assume, discuss, on the actual issue of the hearing. I understand that there may be a witness specifically for the Board of Health, Vernon Hussung, if he's here. Anyone who would like to speak on any issue that would fall under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health is welcome to give a public comment, or anybody that it might be here for item number 4 but is not a witness, a direct witness, can come up and speak as well. So essentially Vernon would wait until item 4 and then the owners as well. Public comment would be anyone else that's not a witness on item 4.
Is there anybody else here that is not a witness on item number 4 that wishes to talk to the Board of Health as relates to public comment?
I do.
Okay. Come up to the microphone and sit down if you'd like.
Okay.
And state your name and address.
Jolene Hussong, 104 North Webster Avenue. And I am Vernon's younger sister and his advocate. He has Asperger's. And I have concerns because he travels from his house on Superior Street to my house on Webster, and he often uses that route of Ridgeway Boulevard. I have walked that path too and seen that dog. I have 2 dogs of my own, and I read the letter that was written, and it stated something in regards to the dog not liking other dogs. I do have concerns not only for people walking there now, but myself and my dogs as well. And I know for a fact that my brothers walk this route like every 3rd day or so, and now they've taken to crossing Ridgeway to the other side of the street until they get past that block and then cross back over and walk on Webster towards my house. I don't know that people in the public should be expected to do that. You should feel safe walking on the sidewalks of the city, and I think that there are actions that can be taken to ensure that people are safe with this dog. Keeping it in the backyard, keeping it leashed if it's in the front yard, not just letting it roam freely and have people be surprised and have the dog be aggressive with them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, I'd like to go into item number 4. Hearing of the City of De Pere determination of a dangerous animal order, which is 1308 Ridgeway, issued by De Pere Director Chrystal Woller on September 18th, 2024. This is pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851A. The board may convene a closed session for the purpose of deliberating concerning a case which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body. The board may also reconvene an open session to take action on any matters discussed in closed session or for such purposes as are allowed by law. So Chrystal, would you like to get us up to date on things?
Sure, thank you. And thank you, board members, for coming in on short notice for the appeal. So the health department received a copy of a dog bite quarantine order from our police department on Tuesday, September 3rd for Fern, the German Shepherd, with the owner identified as Mary Munisteri, residing at 1308 Ridgeway. This incident occurred over the Labor Day weekend on Saturday, August 31st, and was documented as a loose dog and unprovoked bite. Public health follow-up ensued, making contact with the owner and victim according to our standard procedures. About 2 weeks later, on September 17th, I was informed by the police chief regarding 2 other documented incidents. One incident occurred on May 30th, 2021, and was documented as a loose dog and unprovoked bite. The second incident was a warning issued by the De Pere Police Department on July 12th, 2023, for a loose at-large dog. With this being the third incident, second bite, and in accordance with City of De Pere Ordinance 86-4C3 and department procedures, I issued a dangerous dog order on September 18th. My concerns remain to be the documented inability to contain and secure the animal and its documented history of biting, coupled with the fact that the residing property is adjacent to a public park where children and families recreate. The bite victim is present here today and will sign in and is available to speak about the most recent bite incident that occurred on August 31st. So Vernon, if you would come up to the table and just state your name and your address, either table.
Okay, my name's Vernon Hussong, Hussong, and I live at 639 North Superior.
Thank you. And then if you could just describe what happened that day.
Well, that day, my brother and I were taking a walk. We usually walk in the morning, and we call it the Webster Walk, which we walk. We're on Superior, walk down the ridge, and then we go straight down ridge till we hit the Webster, and then we go down Webster. And on the way, that one day, we are going down Ridgeway Boulevard, and we heard a dog barking, which is normal. But for some reason that day, the dog came flying, coming out, and got me in the back of the leg. And then then we heard the owners yell at the dog to come back, and the dog did come back, but. Then I realized I was bit, I felt it, and then the dog left. So we continued our walk, and I walked over to my sister's, who lives on Webster, and that's where we got a picture of the bite, and we called the police, and they came and they checked everything over, and then that's what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Vernon, can I ask a question? Did the bite break the skin?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And they got, like I said, they got a picture of it, and they showed the police officer.
Okay. We haven't seen the picture, I guess, so that's why.
But it wasn't,
reason for the question.
we cleaned it up, and I put some ointment in that, so it wasn't anything that serious.
Okay.
But it did bite the skin. So
Okay. And now you have changed your path,
yes,
method
yeah,
of walking
like
as
we're saying,
well?
yeah. We still walk it every other day or so, but when we get to that block, we go to the following block, go down, and then we go straight across.
Since you've walked that way numerous times, it sounds like, have you noticed the dog being out?
No, not lately. No. Last
How
couple
about
of times.
before, while you were walking before the bite?
Yeah, you heard barking, but nothing. It didn't come. Like I said, it didn't come out to say hi to us, as I say,
Okay.
or anything like that. But for
Was
some
it-
reason that day it came and got me right in the back.
Was the
back of
dog
the leg.
in the front yard when that occurred, or was it
Yes,
in the
yes, we were
backyard?
walking.
So it was loose in the front yard?
Yes, it was
Okay.
at the time. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? I can't think of anything right away. Thank you very much for your comments as well, Vernon. Thank you.
Okay.
Vernon, just thank you for being here. The owners generally would also have the opportunity to ask you questions
Okay.
if needed. So will you stay there, and
Sure.
if they have any questions,
Sure.
they can ask you those.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any owners are here? Anybody else? Owners are here as well? Mary and Jeff, can you pronounce your last name?
Monastery.
Monastery, okay. And you'd like to talk as well then? Go, please take over the microphones.
Good evening.
Mary, can you state your name
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
address at all?
Mary Monastery, 1308 Ridgeway Boulevard.
Okay,
And
you.
I'd like to thank you for convening this special hearing for us. I guess I'd like to first describe Fern. She is a rescue dog. We've had her for about 5 years now. 7? Oh, okay, 7 years. She has, she's not entirely healthy. Arthritis in an ankle and a torn ligament in her left rear hip. The day of the incident, we were packing up to go on vacation. I was in the house. My husband was backing up the vehicle to attach it to the trailer. I was in the house. I heard voices. I heard the dog bark, and it sounded like it was from in the front yard, which it shouldn't have been. So when I went out, I called for Fern. She came to me right away. I said I had heard voices out there, and I went out, walked down further the driveway, looked up and down Ridgeway Boulevard, and I saw no one. I know in the police report it says that we refused to talk to the gentleman. Never saw him. We would have definitely spoken with him and asked if he needed, any medical assistance or anything else, but I saw no one. I brought I brought Fern back into the house and didn't think anything else of it. She wasn't meant to be out in the front yard. The only thing we can think of, my husband had gone through, the garage door was open, and we have a service door that goes into the backyard, and he had gone into the backyard to our shed to get a tool bag to bring along up north in case we had problems with the trailer or anything, and the door must not have gotten shut tightly enough, and Fern must have jumped on it and popped open the door. Because, like I said, she wasn't supposed to be in the front yard. We have had other instances. As far as the statutes for a dangerous dog, as far as we know, there's never been any stitches. There hasn't been any severe wounds, which is what it calls for a dangerous animal. Roaming at large, that's on us. That was wrong. But I said I had no idea that she had frightened anyone, charged at anyone. Did not have any idea that had ever occurred. Last summer, we had some major construction done in our backyard. Our deck torn down, put back up, and a new shed put up. There were construction men all summer long, which they weren't supposed to be, that were there. She never had a problem with any of them. They played with her while they were there. When I take her on walks, there's an older gentleman that jogs through the neighborhood. He has stopped and given her treats. Never any problems there. Our 3-year-old granddaughter feeds her by hand. No issues with that. I don't know what caused her to inflict those 2 bites, but we've never had any problems with people. We keep her in the backyard. We got her from Mittlieb German Shepherd Rescue. and we can do further training with her if you would deem so necessary. There's a shock collar we can keep on her when she's not in the backyard or in the house. I don't think...
My name is Jeff Monastery. I live at 1308 Ridgeway Boulevard, and I'm the one who picked up Fern from Mitlieb 7 years ago. The morning of the incident, I remember seeing two gentlemen as I was backing my car to connect the trailer to it. I saw two people out of my peripheral vision walking up the street. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I waved through the windshield. I don't remember, there was so much going on that day. I did not hear the dog bark because I had had my radio on in the car, and I was listening for the car does a beep when you get too close to something. The new gadgets they have in the cars, so that overtook any barking. I had no clue that Fern had bit anybody that morning until the De police officer came by the house and informed us what was going on. As far as I know, there are times where Fern, if she gets startled, she goes berserk. I can even startle her. But that morning, that's my fault. Like my wife said, that service door may not have been closed enough, and she must have heard me outside or knew I was outside. Very rarely does she leave my side. If I'm anywhere at the house, backyard, as a matter of fact, there are times, there was last year when I had my heart attack, she never left my side for 3.5 months. I'm pretty attached to that dog, and she's pretty attached to me. As far as this piece of thing about scare, we never heard about any of that. We were never contacted. We never got a letter. I don't even know what a scare is as far as the De Pere code goes. The morning of September 3rd, Tuesday, when we got a call, if I'm not mistaken, it was from Sarah. We were on the speakerphone, and we're going to probably get into it a little bit later as far as...
It's not...
well, it is. When we got the report, there was the name, as far as the person that was bit. Had I known that Fern had bit, I would have without a doubt apologized. Tried to find out, what happened, as far as why Fern bit. But when we got the notice, there's a box on that notice that was not checked. And that box basically states that we had to have the dog quarantined and checked for rabies. Mm-hmm. And when we got the call from Sarah on Tuesday the 3rd, she informed us of that. And when we brought the paper with us, that box was not checked. Otherwise, we would have done it. And now we never would have been able to do it anyway because it happened on a Saturday. Our vet's not open on a Saturday. Monday was Labor Day, and we were up north on Saturday, all the way until the following Saturday. So to get 3 visits, what's wrong?
That doesn't have to do with this.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Because we're trying to do what we can to take care of what's supposed to be taken care of. Had we known that we needed the 3 visits to the vet within 10 days, we would have tried to figure out something to do with that. All right? I distinctly remember Sarah telling me when I told her about that, her comment was, "That's none of our concern. How am I supposed to take care of the dog and get her to the vet if nobody's open?" So I'm going to apologize. Like I said, had I known, I knew you guys were walking. I could have sworn I saw the 2 of you. We made eye contact, but I had no idea the dog was out. I'm disappointed that the paperwork that we got stated that we did not want to talk to the people that, that this happened to. That's not true. And to state it on a document that states that we refused to talk to them is hogwash. We had no idea they were that they would even wanted to talk to us. I had no idea they even tried to contact us. So I'm disappointed in the fact that we're here. I understand why we're here, okay? But a scare, when we don't receive any paperwork on a scare, it's disconcerting. But like I said, the morning that it happened on the 31st, that's my fault. So I would take blame for that one for sure. And like I said, I apologize. And I know when she bit you right then and there, she would have been in some deep trouble from me. And I would have tried to find out how you were doing, but I had no idea the dog bit you.
So, is it okay if I
Go right
speak?
ahead, Chrystal.
Thank you. I just want to address the form that he is referencing, Mr. Monasteri, is the City of De Pere Rabies Control Order. And the box that he's referencing is the one that says submit for rabies testing that was unchecked. The reason that is unchecked, the only way you can submit a specimen for rabies testing is if the dog is decapitated and you send the head to the State Lab of Hygiene. So the testing box that was unchecked was purposeful because the reason why the quarantine order is issued is so that that doesn't have to happen, that observation can take the place of rabies testing. So just for information, the box that Mr. Monasteri is referencing is the one that says submit for rabies testing, and you'll find that in your packet, it is unchecked. And that's why. There was no intention to send the head of that dog, Fern, to the State Lab of Hygiene for rabies testing. The only way you can test for rabies is to get a specimen of brain tissue and analyze for rabies. That's why the quarantine observation by the vet is so important, because it takes the place of that. So that doesn't have to happen. So just to clarify that box not being checked.
Okay. Thank you, Chrystal, for clarifying that then. Mr.
Thanks. Otherwise,
Does that clarify it for you as well now?
you bet it does, because if that had happened, personally, I wouldn't be here right now.
Well, we all wouldn't be
It
here
does,
right
it,
now.
Well,
it does make it look like the box, the positioning on the paper does make it look like that was pursuant to the paragraphs below it. That's why I thought it needed to be checked for. I just want a couple other things. It's stated in the police report that 3 other people had wanted to speak on their brother's behalf, on Mr. Vernon's behalf. There was nothing in the report, so I don't know if they did any talking at the time. There's nothing written down. But I am aware that there was some definite discussion on the fact that we are the Trump house. And I think that might have played a part in this, but I can't be certain. Just wanted to bring that up.
and the only reason why we're bringing that up is because when the officer came to the house to give us the report that the dog had bit Vern, okay? He stated that his sister had, when the officer stated that it happened at 1308, and then he happened to state that there were, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, he stated that
I
there were
don't
flags.
remember.
We have Trump flags on our house. Then the sister stated, oh yeah, we want to press charges.
Well, it's the Trump house.
It's the Trump house. And the officer, we wanted the videotape of that, and we didn't get a chance to do it because we didn't realize it took weeks to get it. But when he came to the house, he covered his mic, he muted his mic,
yeah.
to tell us that it was the Trump house. That's why the report was filled out.
No, may have had something to do with it.
Well, I think as a board member, I don't care if it's Trump or Harris House, it doesn't make any difference to me. We're here because of the animal bite, period. And I do have a couple of questions. First of all, going back to 23, you were cited for having Fern as an animal at large. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I do not recall that I'm sure we were, but no, I don't remember that happening.
And then what about apparently Fern has another unprovoked dog bite on May 30th of 2021. Did that happen as well?
That happen to the neighbors?
I don't know if that was. We looked through all our records we have for her, and the paperwork's not in there, which doesn't make sense to us. But no, I don't recall the specific.
Would that have been a police report as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it states on the paperwork that it was, that the quarantine issue was put out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But you don't recall as to why that is?
I don't remember. I don't remember having to take her to.
Yeah, either one of us don't remember having to take her to the vet the 3 times. We called the vet up and we changed vets. So we don't even remember what vet it was that we had at that particular time and point.
I think it was the same one, but I'm not sure.
Now, is Fern when I don't know if it must be a he or she. I don't know. If it's she. Is she in the backyard most of the time?
Yes.
Is she
When
chained
she's
in the
outside.
backyard,
When she's
or
outside.
she just runs loose in the backyard because you have the 4-foot fence back there? And the only way she can get to the front yard is either through the garage door
Or
the front door.
Of her house,
or the front door.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she do that very often at all when I get out in the front?
She has knocked that door because you have to slam it pretty darn hard sometimes to get it to close tight.
That's the service door, the garage
Yeah.
door.
And she has knocked it open before.
If she knows that I'm out there, either cutting the lawn or working on a car or, doing something, she's got to be out there with me.
She wants to be,
She
yes.
wants to be out there.
Okay. Any other questions? Terry, you're on the phone. Do you have any questions at all?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think it's very clear to me what happened, and documentation is good. So,
Okay. Vern, would you like to make any other comments?
No.
Okay.
Fine.
You good, question-wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go
Okay.
ahead.
So, if you guys do you have any more statements you'd like to make as the owners at this point?
We don't have any place for Fern to go if it deemed that we need to get her out of the city.
She will not.
She's not going to like it, that's for darn sure, but no, we don't have any place she can go.
It took us 2 years, a year and a half to get her to trust us. We've worked with her every day. Well, when we first got her, she never bit us, but she would never be with us for a year and a half. Honestly, if you take her away, I'm going to have to put her down because she will not make it at anybody else's house. She won't even we tried to
place
put
to
her
go.
over at my daughter's in Brilliant. She didn't do very well in Brilliant because I'm not there. And if I have to put the dog down or get her out of the city, the only way to get her out is to put her down, and I'm not putting her down.
Can you talk a little bit about the lifetime training? You have that cited in your letter as well. What is
Yes.
that?
That is through,
Her
what
name
is
is
it, Stephanie?
Yeah.
She's over by,
PDQ on the other
yeah,
side of
that
41.
big sports complex that's over in West De Pere off of Shearing Road. She was working with Fern. Fern was with the Mitlieb Shepherd's Rescue. They had her placed there with Stephanie. Stephanie was the trainer, and she was working with Fern. That's where we had picked Fern up from. And though I had forgotten it, apparently we can go back to Stephanie at any time for more training or retraining, however you want to put that. So we can have that done.
Okay. And training consists of what? Obedience
Mm-hmm.
or?
Yes.
Fern has a problem with associating with other dogs. From what we understand, when we got her from Itlib, she was picked up in Chicago. And they're not 100% positive whether or not she was a guard dog for a drug mule or something. They weren't 100% positive. They found her in an area where the drug dealers are and stuff. They found her in an alley. Somebody broke her tail twice to keep it standing up straight. She was abused. She was beaten whenever she did anything wrong. That's where the trust came in for Mary and I when we took her in.
And that's one of the things Stephanie worked a lot with.
Was trust. The only thing Fern has a problem with right now, if she's inside the house, when she's inside the house, is she can hear. Her hearing is just amazing. There'll be people across the street riding a bike, and she'll bark like crazy. Somebody will jog past the house, and she'll bark like crazy, and we have no idea. Stephanie has no idea what sets her off when that happens. She believes...
I do have two questions when you get a chance.
Okay, Terry.
How old is Fern?
She will be, I believe, 8 years old on the 15th of October.
And what made you decide to get her from the rescue? What was it about Fern in particular?
I've always owned a German Shepherd. I've always grabbed a German Shepherd from a rescue. As a matter of fact, the dog we had before Fern, Samantha, I drove all the way over to Ladysmith to pick her up, and she was a rescue dog there. We had a choice of 4 different dogs. Fern was the only one of those 4 dogs that took to me. I don't know why. Mary seems to think it's because I emit some weird vibe to
Girl
a dog.
dog.
Yeah, girl
Male,
dog.
I guess
she doesn't like female dogs because they don't get along with her, but Fern gets along with her just fine. When we visited Stephanie, who had the dog, she was in a kennel. Stephanie took her out of the kennel and literally placed, the word place, on a bedding type thing. She had me go across to the other side of the room, and Fern jumped off the bed without being told to, and came up and when now I'm going to use the word attack, but not in the literal sense of the word. She
Playful way.
She jumped on me. She licked me. Mary was amazed at what this dog was doing to me. That's why I chose Fern. The other 3 dogs, they were either too old, they were not as buoyant, energetic, playful as Fern is. That was the other reason why I chose Fern.
Okay. I have another
Has
question.
she ever,
Go ahead, Terry.
has she ever not been with, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Has she ever, when you're not present, has she ever growled at other people?
Only complete strangers.
Yeah, only complete.
But particularly if the front doorbell goes off.
Any dog does that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, any
But
dog.
other than that, no. She rarely growls at all.
She doesn't growl. Even when we introduced her to family members, she never introduced her. When we introduced her to the people in the neighborhood, she had a tough time because she did not know the people. Now, there is a gentleman that lives right across the street from us. He used to work for the city. His name is Vic. And it took us almost 1.5 to 2 years to get Fern to get used to Vic, because Vic and I are chatting buddies, if you want to call us that. Now, if Fern is outside, before, she would see Vic, she would literally try to go across the street to go see Vic. De Pere had their garage sale 2 years ago?
2 years, yeah.
Or if I'm not mistaken, you had your community garage sale 2 years ago. And we participated in that. And we must have had 3 or 4 dozen people at our house. And Fern was in the front yard. She was leashed a good portion of the time with a harness. She'd always had we have a play tire for her to gnaw on and stuff. And she was constantly trying to give it to people because she wanted to play. That's the way Fern is. If she doesn't have that toy with her, she'll sit in the front yard with me and just sit in front of the house and just watch the world go by. So the morning that she bit Vernon I have a feeling she thought we were leaving without her. So she was getting a little bit antsy and a little bit concerned. And that when I did not close the door and she kicked the door or bumped the door to get out, I think she was trying to figure out what Mary and I were doing as far as packing the trailer and the car up.
Does she have a shock collar?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it worn all the time, or?
It's not worn all the time. It's worn when
I've started putting it on her during the day because I've started working from home. And like I said, when she hears the noise, if she starts barking, I have put it on her so I can stop her from
barking
doing that while I'm working.
Do you have perimeter wiring around your house?
No.
No. So the shock collar is more
It's
or
a
less
shock.
remote controlled?
Hand,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a range of, I think, of 30 feet.
Okay. And the other question I have is, when you said when she hears people outside, she starts barking. Is it barking
Sometimes.
in anger, can you tell, or is it in just notifying you
Protectiveness.
that there's somebody
Just
there?
more of a warning.
Yeah, that,
Just,
I'm here.
I heard something.
Yeah, I mean, most dogs don't like people in uniform. It took us almost 3 years to get her to get used to Allison, the post lady that comes to our house. Now they're almost best of buds, except when she's not outside with us. But if Allison comes to the house to drop the mail, Fern will hear her and she'll bark like crazy because she's in uniform. When the police officer came to the house that Saturday, we had to put Fern in a different portion of the house because she went berserk. And we have a feeling it's because of what happened when she was younger in Illinois.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Terry, any other questions from you?
Dennis, I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not going to feel good about doing
no
this
more
unless.
questions.
Hold on, Terry, or is she going to go?
Let Devin ask his question first, Terry, okay?
What I want to know, Vernon, would you be okay if they put the dog through further training? I know it's against our ordinance.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And if it show, and come back with the proof and do everything you can to make sure nothing else happens, it'll be your fault if the dog bites again. You'll have to make sure that she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could feel good about
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
Anytime we know that.
going
she's-
against the ordinance.
I'd be fine
Thank
with
you.
that.
Thank you.
But I think they need to show the proof, go to the training, do what they have to do. Since you don't want to put the dog down, then you got to do what you can to make sure she doesn't bite again.
I'd be fine with that.
I think that would probably be a closed discussion item that we have to discuss.
Okay,
in
well, I
closed
just wanted to
session.
get that out.
I think on
Okay.
that one. Terry, you have any questions?
No, but I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I know how hard it must be to go through something like this after the dog attached to you so quickly when you first went to adopt her. It's a very unfortunate situation.
Thank you.
Devin, you had another question?
No, I said that, so I want to know what Vernon's opinion was.
I'd like to,
Procedurally,
yes,
you want me to chime in just on that?
yep.
Okay.
All right. So if everyone's had their say, just procedurally how this can work. So the Board of Health is ultimately tasked with making a decision on whether or not to uphold the determination of a dangerous animal order. The two boxes that were checked on the particular order that was issued on September 18th say one was an animal that without provocation inflicts a substantial bodily harm on a person, domestic pet or animal on public or private property, and also an animal that chases or approaches a person in a menacing fashion or apparent attitude of attack without provocation on public or private property. So that's taken directly from our ordinance. that it goes into a little bit more detail, so I'll just read that because this is ultimately what the board's making a decision on. The first one, animal that without provocation inflicts substantial bodily harm, meaning bodily injury that causes a laceration that requires stitches, any fracture of bone, a concussion, a loss or fracture of a tooth, or any temporary loss of consciousness, sight, or hearing on a person, domestic pet, or animal on public or private property. That's essentially box 1. Box 2, any animal which chases or approaches a person in a menacing fashion or apparent attitude of attack without provocation upon the streets, sidewalks, or any public grounds or on private property without the permission of an owner or person in lawful control of the property. So the board is tasked with making a decision on whether or not either or both of those determinations on this, on this order were met via the testimony that was heard today of the incident itself, testimony that was provided by Vernon, and you as the owner specifically to the date in question. So those are sort of the parameters of what what they're tasked to do. They would make a motion to on that issue, and they do have the opportunity to deliberate in closed session if they wish. They are not required to deliberate in closed session, but they may. They also can stay in open session and vote on that specific issue without going into closed.
I would like to make a motion that we go into closed session. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second. Approve, say aye.
Aye.
I guess we're not that many
Aye.
people anymore. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay,
Let's go
so
into closed session for a little bit.
okay, the Board of Health has voted to go into closed session to deliberate. So what that means is everyone, I will stay as the advisor to the board, but everyone else would need to leave while they deliberate. No decision will be made. They just, speaking, if they have questions of me, they can ask, but they have to go back into open session in order to ultimately make a decision. So basically what that means too for everyone else, anyone who's, is free to leave that, you don't have to stay to hear the decision unless you would like to. It'll be, at least a few minutes.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're gonna have another open meeting to let us know what's gonna happen with.
Well, they do have the opportunity to reopen it today.
After.
Right after.
Oh, right.
Literally right after.
We'll take care of it.
Yes.
Have discussion
Yeah.
among us, and then go back into
I
open
think-
session again.
I think the intent would be to make a decision tonight,
Oh,
like
okay.
within, however long they want to go into closed session.
Okay.
After that. So if you want to stick around, you have to leave now, but you can
No.
come back in. But you have to leave the room, but you can come back in. So, but anyone else that doesn't want to come back in doesn't have to.
We had quite a discussion on this issue, and I'd like to make a motion to either sustain the order or to deny the order. So with that in place,
Yeah, you all do a motion whether to sustain the order and then have someone second it.
Okay, and have sustain the order or deny the order, and have somebody second that?
Yes, motion to whether or
I'm
not.
sorry,
to
we
sustain.
don't do this very often,
Yep.
so we're learning the
Yep.
ropes here a little bit as well. Okay, can I have a second on that, the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Terry? you
Are we
okay?
moving to sustain? Wait.
To sustain
No,
or
I
deny?
misunderstood.
We have a motion.
I'm moving to sustain.
Okay, so we want to have a vote then,
Yes.
okay? Let's have a vote to either sustain the order or deny the order. Vernon, your vote is,
Devin.
Devin, I'm sorry,
I'm going to sustain it.
sustain. No, sustain or deny?
Sustain. Or deny it, sorry.
Deny, okay. Terry, your vote is to
Sustain.
sustain,
Sustain.
okay. My vote is to deny the order. So it's 2-1 that the order has been denied by the Board of Health. Now, there are going to be strong recommendations with this for the owners. Mr. Monastery,
That means I get to keep the dog?
yes, you can keep the dog. However, recommendations are that the dog be leashed. Strongly recommend that the dog is leashed when it's outside, unless it's in the backyard. Strongly recommend that training take place for the dog. And training that the Stephanie, I think you said the lady is comfortable with the outcome, that the dog is been lowered down somewhat in terms of the anger management issue with it. recommend that strong recommendation that the door be, you said the door was open or it needs to be fixed?
It doesn't need to be fixed, I just need.
Just has to be closed, okay. And then also recommend that if the dog is in the front yard, that it's not only leashed all the time, but it's also get electric fence in the front yard as well.
I've already made a tether for
Okay.
in the harness.
And what we don't want to have you do is kind of you come back again, because I'm sure our decision would be changed if indeed there's another incident.
Hopefully I'll put her down because she was hurting
Well.
much right now as it is.
Well, one of our concerns is your 3-year-old or anybody else with her. I mean, a German Shepherd's is a large dog, and I say she may get along well with a 3-year-old, but it only takes a moment for it to turn around, and we've known that's happened before, so it's going to be really watching her very closely and having you make a decision based upon her current status, if indeed this is something you want to put up with, or do you feel comfortable around her or not? She's your dog, but how is she around children? How is she around others? And I don't want to have her come back, have this situation come back, and wish that we had denied this order instead, or sustained the order instead of denied it. So, any questions?
You can
Terry,
thank Vernon
any
too. His decision had a lot to go into this.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's going to be up to you as well. Big responsibility is going to be your responsibility. Anything else? Any other questions? Then I would like to make a motion that the Board of Health adjourn.
I'll second.
Second. Terry? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Board of Health is adjourned.